Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks so much for joining me today. I want to show you a little something today. Hang on a moment. This is the journal I'm currently working in. So, yeah, I'll pull out that signature. It makes it just so much easier. All right. Got a pocket here with an envelope. Okay? Or is it? What I want to show you is how to make this envelope. So it's an envelope, but not an envelope. So turn it over, undo it, undo it, undo it. I'm hoping that's all in shot. And then we have pockets with journal. And on this side, we have 3 more little journal cards. It's quick and it's easy and I'm really wrapped with it actually. I'm sure it's been done before. I put money on it that it's been done before. You could add, by all means, you could add more tucks and pockets and all the rest. But when I finished it and turned it over and I went, oh, it's an envelope. So I used a stamp on the front to make it actually look like an envelope, and then I had another stamp with an address looking thing and popped that on the back. This thing is so easy. There is very little to it. Once again, the main bit is the decorating. So what we're going to do is I'm using some craft card. Now, I've used this before. It was one that I got cheap somewhere. And it was a Doris brand. It was £65 weight. And I remember asking in one of my other tutorials, because I didn't know what that was in GSM weight, which is what we work on in Australia. And luckily, thank you, somebody commented and told me what it actually was. So it's 175 GSM. So it's thicker than copy paper, which is only an 80, but most cardstock or heavyweight cardstock is around the 250 GSM mark. So it's lighter weight than that, which means it's nice and pliable and it doesn't add a lot of bulk to your project, which meant that for all of my bits on the inside, once again, I've used a sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, double-sided. So that's one side of it, that's the other side. And it meant that I can get through another sheet of 12 by 12 paper because so much it's not funny. Right, first things first. So the other thing I must mention with this is that it's not quite an A4 size. It is that way, but it's not that way. So, measurement wise, I think you're looking at about 8.5, yeah, 8.5 this way. But our A4 size is 11.5. This one is only 11, or just a tad over 11 inches. It really doesn't make any difference, the size of it anyway, especially not with the length. All it's going to do is add a little bit more to this side. All right, all we're going to do is turn it over, fold it in half. If you want to, you can put it on a scoreboard. I tend to be lazy for the most part. And just fold. I use my bones, which is starting to show, and just really crease that down so that we've got it in half. We want to measure down 2 inches and score along there. For that, I find it's easier with the scoreboard. So, I can never get this thing undone. So, sitting it in so that it's wedged up against your sides and 2 inches across, which is your top flap. Now, as I said before, this is a lightweight card, so I don't want to crease too much. I'll run the risk of going straight through it. This side, now if I want, I can just sit it up like that. Otherwise, I do actually have a measurement, and it's 2 7/8, just to be a real pain, which is that one, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it is. So all it is that it'll give you just a bit of a gap once it's folded, so that it'll finish, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch down from the top fold. That's it. Pop that back away in there, because I'll leave that with that one and have my other one on the table with me. So now it's just a matter of folding these over and burnishing them. At that stage, always watch that your sides are level. One. Doesn't matter if you need to trim them a little bit. So that's this one, and that's going to fold like so. Give him a good crease. Try and straighten it up a little bit. Doesn't matter how I do it, whether I do it all with the scoreboard or whether I do it by hand, I will always end up with a little bit out. For me, I'll always just say that the paper was out to start with. That could be true, you don't know. Right, so this one's actually pretty good. The other one I did was quite wonky, so it's got a little bit there, and I'll just trim him up with the knife so that it's nice and straight. Use my ruler if I can find it. I'll just run it down there. Yeah, so there's only one little fold that is out. Got them all? No, don't have them all. Right. So now I made a mess of that. Blech. Right. In essence, that's about it. It's going to go that way. So these are your top folds, and these are your pockets. What we want to do is cut down here and cut up here, so that this piece is the only piece that's left in this centre fold that's still folded. Now, you can cut it with your trimmer, you can cut it with a knife, you can cut it with scissors and hope that you're straight, but you can always go back and just re-trim things up, so that's fine. It's whatever works for you. There is no right or wrong way. Right, so now what I have is this one, this one, this one, and that. So now I can see that I'm already wonky, but I'll tidy him up as we go. This one I can see I've gone a little bit over the crease, so I'm actually going to trim that up a little bit with my knife, just back down to that centre point, and I'll give it a little bit so it's kind of on an angle. So there's more at one end than there is at the other, which will just make it sit in there a little bit better and give it more space in here when it creases. Same with this side. You can see that that's already wanted to crease a little bit. So just straight down, trim him up a little bit. So I have this side and this side, that's all looking nice. That's where I originally tried to trim that. And it's as wonky as. Let's get a big ruler. And let's just see how I mutilated that. So I lined up with my grid where I should have done in the first place. Oh, that's just all over the show. See, that's what I get for trying to think I'll just whiz that down. Right. That's a bit better. That's a bit better. So up, that'll become our pocket. Down, that's the flap for that one. This one becomes a pocket. This one folds over and folds down. And now it's nice and neat. Right, in my original one, I have these ones curved, just to give an envelope look. But on the inside, I have a half pocket. So that's this one, and it'll only be adhered down here. I could leave this square edged if I want, but I like the curved look of these, and I quite often do them. So I'll give you a tip, if I can find it. There it is. What I've made, look, it's an old piece of packaging. So it's a piece of acetate. It's from an old planner from years and years and years ago. But I've made my curve. So I have a small curve, I have a large curve. Just like on my old store card, I have a large tag shape and I have a small tag shape. These sit on my desk so that they're always there, and it means that I can just do a curve whenever I want to. So to do this curve, I'm just going to sit it down. So I'll line the top part of my acetate with the top part of this and down to this fold line. I'll come in a little bit because I need to allow for many times as I sharpen my pencil, it wears down. So to allow for my pencil line, and then all it is going around. So then I can trim that. If you've got a die or anything else, you can use a die, but you need to remember to only have the curve. So oval dies are good, but they're good in this sense, but for really only giving you the shape to trace around. So that's how I tend to do them in the first place. I'll use a die or a punch in that shape to use as a template to start with. So now what I've got is my half tuck. I'll rub out my pencil line. And on this one, I want my small curves. So that's this side of my template. Again, I'll sit them down, allowing a little bit of pencil room so it's not right up against the edge. And around. I turn it over and do the other side the same. It's also good if you've got a template. Look, in the old days, I'd freehand them and I'd just, sit there and fiddle around with my pencil and draw a curve. I could trace it out. But if I want to put other cardstock on it, like with this, and leave a border, I've then got to try and freehand that one again. Whereas with the template, I can just pull it down again, and I've then got the exactly right shape. So we'll trim those ones. Now you can take as much care or not with it as you go. Fold you that way, fold you that way. So then I can get my hand in there. Just straight round. And done. So now I've got my two curves on the end. And I've got my basic shape. So really now, it's just a matter of decorating it. So again, I've gone and got a 12 by 12 cardstock, a 12 by 12 patterned paper. It was a Kaisercraft one that I've got lots of, hidden treasures, but it had this nice green and it had this nice plain. So I've just cut them out and ink them, you'll be pleased to know, so that all I've got to do now is ink this one. So I'm just going to quickly run round and ink, and I'm sorry, you can fasten this bit up a bit, put it on double speed or something like that. I like to fold my creases as well so that I can ink in them so that it looks kind of worn, well loved, etc. I have inked my paper ready to decorate, but yeah, can't ink this one prior because I needed to cut it out first. So we'll just very quickly ink all the way around that. So the outside edge, the whole thing can be inked. And once again, as you all know, my walnut stone has still not been refreshed. And I don't have another one yet. And it's getting very light on. Just keep folding it back over. Re-inking. I promise I'll go as quick as I can. Nothing worse than sitting there just watching somebody ink. So fold you that way. And round. Talk amongst yourselves. It is Easter at the moment, so I'm wishing you all a safe Easter. Good Friday here, so it means that family's all home, well, almost. Husband's away. He's got friends over and they've all gone to, I don't know, Speedway event. 6 hours away, so they left at the crack of dawn this morning. So, got the weekend, not back till Monday. So, our weather is beautiful. We've had hardly any summer this year, hardly any summer. And, got to work out where I am. And today is just beautiful. Yesterday afternoon turned out lovely. Today is awesome, and apparently tomorrow's meant to be the same. So we can't complain at all with our weather. It's just very mild and pleasant, a little bit warm but not too hot. That one goes up that way, so I'm going to the outside edge. And all the way around the outside. Just that bit. See, my ink is so light that I can't actually see where I've been. So does that mean I'm even needing to ink? Yeah. For me, though, it does. I know I've done it then. And I feel so much better. Right. On the home stretch. Last little bit in here. Have a look at what we've got now. So I've got that, I've got that. Got that. That's all done. That's all done. That's all done. My centre fold is not done in here. On both sides. And right, that bit doesn't need to do because he folds up. That bit I will need around my curve and do my outside of that one. And that bit. Just to make my envelope. Done, done. It's all done? Not quite. Too many folds. Now, you could do this in any colour you like. You could do the whole thing originally in just your scrapbook paper, your double-sided scrapbook paper from the scratch, and then it's already decorated, really, isn't it? You've just got to add a few more pockets or some tags, things like that. Right, so this is here, this is here, this is here. That's not done. How come I thought I had it all done? Maybe another fold just popped up. done. Right, pop my ink away. So I tend to decorate my inside first. And as I said, I've just already cut out my bits and bobs ready for this. So I've got my green. I want these just in here, which when this folds over, you'll see this at the back. So very quickly, I'll move my rulers because I really don't need those now. Sit them back, sit that back, give myself some more space. Move that over, sit that there, get rid of that. Now I've got some working space. So just an old catalogue, but it's what I tend to use as an inking, as a glue station more or less. I was for a while using old book pages, but I just can't because I want to use them for everything else. And it's not as though I don't have enough book pages. I've got ample, but I just couldn't use them anymore for gluing. So we have enough junk mail that turns up during the week that I can use this. So this one's going to go on this side. I don't know if that's in shot, but I am only using glue. My glue stick, of course, which is the Boss Stick brand, but in the blue glue. All right. And that one, give him a wipe. So that's those ones. This one can go up here. Now this one, I'll stick this one down first, and then our other one will need our curves in it. So because I've got the template, it just makes it so much easier and quicker to put those curves back in. Try and line up, if you can, your border down that way as well. Technically they should be the same size. Mine may or may not be. Right, so I've got this one. See, at the moment it's like that. So what I want to do is put, there's my curve. Okay, sorry, that way, there's my curve. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing and sitting it on, because I already know my paper is slightly smaller. If you notice, my paper is cut to the size of the border that it would have had if it had been square. So I pop my template on. Again, not quite right to the edge. Make sure my template's straight in there. Find my biro, my pencil, whatever you want to call it. That needs to come back in a little bit. Do the same on this side. Like so. Cut those ones. So yes, I may have inked this, but I didn't ink it with the curve. One, I'll straighten that bit up. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed and all things being equal, that should now, look at that. See, and now you've got the same curve in there. So I need to get rid of those pencil lines. Always a good idea to try and get rid of your pencil lines first. I'll ink my curves. And it's just the curves because the rest is all inked. I can glue that one down now. If I can find what I did with my glue bit. Right. Lining it up so that it matches in with the other one and across the same bit there. Give that one a push. Right, so we've done our insides. Now, our outer edges, we've got one here that can be just stuck straight on. Going that way, because now I've turned my double-sided paper over and I'm using the opposite side to give myself some contrast. That's just me. You could stick with the same colour. It doesn't have to be a contrast. It's a great way to get rid of individual sheets. Straight down. Right, so I've only got this one, which again, we want to put in our curve. So going back to our template, and it was this one that we used. Sitting this one on, matching up the top, going towards the corner, finding the pencil. And round. Finding the scissors. So I'm trying to hurry because I'm thinking my tutorials go for too long. So I've been trying to work out how to make these go a shorter length of time. So maybe I need to just take a deep breath and slow down a little bit. But I have been going for half an hour already. I have these great ideas, but they just take so long. All right, that one can be now adhered down. Where have I not got a gluey spot? About there. And another one bites the dust. I'm sure I ate these. They come in a bigger size as well. Ugh, but I find that I can't hang on to the bigger size, so I need the smaller ones. And I'm sure I'm eating them. Right, same with this one. Down so that you've got the border. Give it a push. And the only other bit that needs a covering at this stage is this one, because this is our inside envelope. So again, I've got the same as I have on these folds, which is just this one. So it's a nice straight one. And I'll glue that one if I can get, we'll turn it over so that we're gluing this side. And I will start to look for a new glue stick. Right, this one goes on this. Again, lining up our borders. Oh, and that worked well. My line goes straight down. Beautiful. Right. That one sits in like that and folds over there. So that'll have our front of the, if we want it in an envelope. Now, we will glue down these. So they are literally just my white glue, which is an Express It Power Tack brand. Straight in here, because I want to make this just a normal pocket. So I'm technically making an envelope on the outside of an envelope. So from my fold line down to the edge, down, folding that up, giving it a crease, pushing out any excess glue that I might have sitting in there. Now, what I like to do, let me if I find it, there it is. They're all sitting in the drawer down there. While I'm gluing this side, I like to just put a couple of paper clips that are normally sitting all over my desk, but they're not at the moment, just in here to hold that while it's drying, because it is now a few layers thick. I need my longer ones. And sorry, and I'll put one down that side, which will just hold that all in place while I'm now gluing this one. It won't take that long to dry. All right, and so this one, because I just want the corner tuck, will literally just be adhered from the crease line and straight down. I'll go up, push out any excess glue, make sure that there's none on the other side, and I'll do the same with this one and pop a couple of, they're not safety pins, paper clips. Right, while I work out my front. Just put the lid back on that. Now, the front of the one that I'd done prior looks lovely and old and all the rest, and I haven't given that a border because I wanted to make sure that it looked like a full envelope. What I actually used, and I didn't bring it over, so just bear with me, in my tea and coffee dyed papers, here we go, in my tea and coffee dyed papers, I had some sheets where I was playing one day, and here we go. Well, there must be an open packet there somewhere, or have I used them all? Right, we'll undo this. What they were was parchment paper, but in a blue. Now, you know, I don't know about you, but I can't see that I would use the blue that often. So I grabbed them one day when I was doing a batch of, I think that might be coffee dyed. That's the colour. Put them in with my coffee dyeing, and that's what I got. Okay, so it's different to normal parchment colour. Doesn't have quite that creamy yellow, but it's meant that all these blue ones I will now use. And I've got piles of them, piles and piles and piles of them. So, but it gives that beautiful crinkly, because it's been dyed, old world feel. And I love it. And it works a treat on this. So, going back to this one, because all of this will be dry now. It only needs that few seconds. Yep. Beautiful. So, what I want to do, now none of this is straight, just isn't, and I never checked it when I was actually dyeing it. That one's pretty good if I go that way, and that'll give me that one as well, won't it? All right, so what I do with this, and I tend to use my double-sided tape. I'm just reaching across to grab it. And I will tape right up to my edges and find my scissors again. They just walk, and I have bright yellow scissors so that I can see them when I'm working, but it makes no difference. Now, for everything else I've used glue, and just glue. Because this is on the outside and has quite a few layers in it, and is going into a pocket that where it's pulled in and out. I'm putting that extra firm edging on it, so I'm using my double-sided tape. And it's just as close as I can to the edge. Like so. Then I will use my glue stick and just go right up to my double-sided tape. Like that. And we'll just peel off this. And get very gluey fingers. Try not to touch too much else. I'm going that way, aren't I? Open that back out again so I'm not sitting on those paper clips. Into my corner. Doesn't necessarily have to be right on the fold. Not that corner. Come on, 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 come on. Must have been this corner I was looking at. Told you these things aren't square. That one's better. I go just a bit above. Then I can trim it back. I put that bit in. All right. And with my store card, I can flatten this out as though it's only one layer. And I can trim the rest away. So now it's nice and flat. I will grab this. That was that side I said was going to fit the other bit, wasn't it? And that one, and I've lost my little ruler. I better grab my big one. Okay, so straight down here. Don't cut into your little booklet envelope thingamajig. Otherwise you'll lose your folds. So there's one side. That will be like that. Now I can trim down here. Don't know if you can see that. Move it back up into shot, sorry. Down. Which is that. Very quickly go around that. Hold that back over. And then that side. Right. So this side, now all these guys will be done. And I need to cover both of those. So I've got a scrap that's still left here that's not going to fit it. It was that scrap. Yep, that one will fit that one. So again, with my double-sided tape, I will go along my flat edge at the top. And I'll go along my flat edge down here. This is just me. You don't have to do it the same way. It's just the way I do things. I'll then use my white glue to go around my curve. You could sit there and double-sided tape around your curve with lots of little bits as well if you want. And then what's remaining of my glue stick in the centre. And then we better see if we can find another glue stick. close as you can to white glue without mixing it up, but your white glue is going to stretch out, you know, flatten out as it gets stuck anyway. Peeling off that. Peeling off that one. As I've got to cut, sorry, that's my hair. As I've got to cut most of this, I'm just matching up that and I can trim the rest. Sorry, I hit the phone above me. It must be lower down today. I hit the phone with the top of my head while I was concentrating. So all you would have got was the top of my grey hair. Awesome. Sorry. Bet you there's something you didn't really need to see today. All right. So now I can trim all of this, and I will do that whole thing with my scissors. And then if I've cut a little bit wonky as well when I'm trimming this up, I find that because I'm then inking the edges, it'll cover up a lot of that wonkiness. Wonkiness is a word, right? Probably should have wiped that glue up first because now my scissors are all getting gluey. It's fine. We're almost at the end and I can go and wash them. I won't, but I could. I know I won't. All right. Tucking that in. And that one. Like so. All I've got left now is this side, and I will need another part piece, which I've got here. For down in here, that will fit beautifully. So once again, my double-sided tape across my creases and my, or just my straight edges. I tend to cut my double-sided tape more than tear it. You can tear it by all means, but I find that I have trouble picking the back off if it's torn. Whereas if it's cut, it's got a straight edge and I can get my fingernail there and actually peel it back up. Sometimes I get lazy and I'll just tear it, usually because I can't find my scissors. And then I sit there and struggle because I can't actually get my edges up. So that's the reason why I cut mine. But if you're tearing yours, that's fine. Right, what do you reckon? Is this glue stick going to give us this last little bit? Let's see how we go. Don't know. Oh, maybe. Down. I just want to get right to my edges. Doesn't matter that I've gone over my tape because all that backing's coming off anyway. I got it. I got it. Beautiful. All right. Last piece. Blah. That side. Just going to tuck that one under, and I'll try not to put my head in it. And I'm going to match that side up, and then I can trim the rest. And straightening it all out again, giving it a good push, and flattening down that the crinkle a little bit. Right, trim that up and we're done. How easy was that start to finish? I ask you. Go that way. And down. And last piece. How's that? Right, look at that. You've got an envelope. Now, it could be anything on the front. I just made mine a vintage envelope, and as I said, I just put a stamp on mine. We'll ink around that, won't we? Just because we can. As much or as little as you like. And grunge it right up. Now, one of my little tags that I did in my initial one, and I've just used then offcuts of that same craft cardstock for my tags, because again, it's nice and thin, so it won't bulk it up a lot. So with this one, now all I've done with this one, and it is still nice and pliable, I've used a print from a newspaper. I've got lots of old newspapers. I think this one's from 1929 or 1909. It's one of the nines anyway. So I've popped that on, and then I've got the back, and all I've done is with my sprays, so these sorts of things, the distress sprays, what I have a tendency to do, hang on a moment, I'll cut a piece. I'll make one for this. Let's have a look. I've got a few minutes, so we'll just do this, will we? So I want that about that width, and I want to sit up about there. So just trim that. Where was I? There. And there. And let's see if that fits. Beautiful. Right, so the other side of this one, all I've done, there's some of this, and then I'm working on my actual glass mat, and it's easier to clean up, isn't it? So once again, I've really inked around my edges just to get it going and to make it grungy and dark. So instead of just flicking it, I've actually blended it into to make it, and gone thicker in other areas, some nice and light, and I've just literally gone around the edge, and then I'll start really pushing in and giving these darker bits in spots as well, just so that it's all different and tattered and, you know, fingerprinted is what I'm looking for. Right, got a little bit in there, and then all I've done, just move that, is I'm just going to do up my glue to start with. I've got a selection, excuse me, I've got a walnut stain, I had a tea dye, what else will we grab? What's that? Vintage photo. So 3 different browns, okay? I'll undo them. And then I just do that. Okay? So I'm not actually spraying them. I'm just sitting them on. If I get big blobs, I'll then get my dirty cloth and wipe like that. So another colour, do the same sort of thing. This is all nice and full of ink. Just put some blobs on there, and then I'll just scribble with it. Sit you in there. I've got a big chunk just there. I'll get rid of that before I actually lean into it. All right, give it a rub. Tea dye, which is a lighter one, so you won't notice it as much. It's just a light brown, but I want to fill in some areas. And that. And just do these up before I drop them. Now, you could just have your made up coffee or tea dye and put them into a little bottle, or you could just pick them up with a bit of a spoon and dab them on, and you can do the same sort of thing. So from that, I grabbed, I don't think it's the same colour, and it might be just slightly thicker. So we'll, but it's a brown pen. And I'll sit this on here. And I'll put in my journaling lines. So I'm going to go 1/2 inch each time. Oh no, that one's, oh no, it's there. So it's way too light, but it's there. Yep, it's there. It's a thicker pen, this one, but that's all right. I'm just going to give 1/2 inch each time for this one. Starting a little bit in. You can measure how far in you want to go, or you can just do it by eye. This one's quite thick. I usually use a really fine pen for journaling, for my journaling lines. You could stamp it if you've got some stamps with journaling lines. I've got some stencils with journaling lines on them as well, but quite often I can't be bothered reaching over, and so I'll just grab the pen that's to my right, in my pen holder to my right, and I'll put one more way down the bottom, and just rule them when I'm doing a little tag like that. So now I've got a little journaling posse at the back, and I can decorate the front. It's nice and pliable. The ink hasn't gone through, so there's no marks. If I want to, I could just stamp on that, or I can pop, you know, another piece of pattern paper. I can do anything I want along those lines with that. And then I've got little grungied journaling posies that'll just sit in. Do the same with all of these sorts of ones. So when I did these ones, I did 3 different sizes. So I've done one that's about a full length, okay, and these were just off a paper pad. Let's face it, I've got so many small paper pads, so I just pulled out some more sheets to a paper pad. So I've got that one, which is almost the full size of the pocket. Then I've got that one, which is shorter, but just a little bit layered down, so that it gives the height of that one above it, so that he sits in like that. And then I've done a tag that is the full height of the pocket, so that I can layer like so. And that's all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you'll go away and make lots of envelopes that are not really envelopes. But, you know, how easy. If I can find my journal. There we go. My signatures that are not in yet. Again, this is that same cardstock because it's lighter weight, and and it's a piece of washi tape on the end of it, so the cardstock was about that width. When I've popped it on, I've glued my 3 sides, but I've stuck down that side and then pushed those ones in a little bit as they're drying, so that it gives me a raised pocket, because regardless, I don't have that much in here, but it is still quite thick and sturdy. So for it to go in without damaging any of this or ripping just my normal coffee paper behind, I needed it to lift out a little bit, which made it easier. And we've probably all done it. We've made, oh, hang on, here's a belly band. That's not going to fit in that one anyway. But quite often, belly band's smaller anyway. Quite often when we've done a pocket and they're nice and tight, but it means that they're tight to get things back in. I don't know if I've got any other pockets sitting in here with this one. And it means that, yeah, they're quite tight to get things back in. So with this one, I actually made it so that it was slightly raised. So I don't know if you can see that it's sitting out like that and it's slightly raised so that it's not hard to pop that one back in. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little envelope. Have a wonderful Easter and stay safe, please. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.